be chasing wrong from right. Eyes like fire burning through the haze. Truth is a weapon, cuts through the maze. Some call her trouble, some call her brave. Digging up secrets they tried to save. A real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her cry, yeah. They whisper in shadows, they curse her name. Afraid of the spotlight she brings to the game. But the grateful ones, they cheer in the dark for the spark she ignites in their weary hearts. Some call her danger, some call her hope. She's the thin line on the tightrope. Oh, real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. Real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The truth's her crown, yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. We're back. Finally, I'm back to give you the lowdown on what the exhibits are in the ethics complaints against David Vigeant and Gary Shepard. So interesting things that I'm going to be covering. I'm going to be covering the documents I'm going to be showing you are primarily the interviews made between the Ethics Commission, the attorney who is in the main attorney who's representing the Ethics Commission, Candice Pruitt, in her interviews with both David Vigeant and Andrew Shepard. Those are the main ones. I'm going to I'll show you a couple others, but not. Let's see. Yes, I think some of the others are interviews, but these are the two main characters that I'm going to be showing you. I also have evidence that is convincing that David Vigeant had determined months before the bids went out, not weeks, months before the bids went out. He confirmed in writing that it was going to Gary Shepard. In writing, he was absolutely planning on giving this to them. Didn't matter who was going to make it. It didn't matter who was bidding. This was Gary Shepard's to lose. And he didn't. Now he's going to pay, I'm sure. But we'll see. That's his. Gary's isn't really kicking off till March. But that's okay. So tonight or today, what time is it? Yeah, it's still daytime supposedly. Winter has arrived, in case you didn't notice. But so I'm going to be showing. I got to pull down, got to pull off, get rid of this, remove from studio. I'm going to be pulling up. I got to pull up the interviews. But there's some interesting pieces to this. So I had requested this a couple of months ago, and before they had announced that they made it public anyway, before they made it public that they were going to go do the same thing to Gary Shepard as they've done to David. And it was public. It really hit the main media. David's did a little, but Gary's went really off the rails because he's also a fire chief. So all the newspapers made it front page news that ethics was going after him. And of course, the millions of dollars involved with Gary is much more frightening than what's going on with David. David's the ethics, the most ethics is asking for a fine from David is 20 grand, which is a lot, I think, for David to take. But they're going after Gary with a lot more charges. But anyway, when I asked for these documents, I asked for all the public records associated with this case, and they gave me a dump. It was big zip file, too big to be sent normally. It was whoa, and I had to figure out how to download it, and I did. I was able to figure that out, but when I got these, I was like shocked. But you have to consider that they had not announced Gary yet. So there's quite a few pages in this dump that are missing. There are lots of pages missing from the interviews. They redacted part of the interviews. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure when, sometime in February, I'm going to do another public records request of all documents. That might be March, actually. I might wait until the preliminary hearing on Gary, because I'll still have time to get the public records. But because we had already had the public hearing, the original hearing on David. So I'm talking to myself, sorry. But I want to make sure I get everything. So I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to wait another month before I ask for another public records. I don't want to make them create this dump again unless I have to. So I'm going to wait so that I'll get all the missing pages, because I suspect that the pages I'm missing, and maybe even more interviews with other people that I have that are missing, that I don't even know about, are because they were still investigating Gary and they weren't ready for prime time. They didn't want to release some of the interview information until after they start kicking off with Gary. So that's my suspicion as to why they left out quite a few pages. But what I have is damning and convincing. You can't possibly be confused by what I'm going to show you on the screen and read. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read every word so you don't miss anything. Okay. Let me see if I can pull this up. This is always a challenge. Window. Yes, window. It's a window. And I always have too many windows open. Here we go. Here's Exhibit 1. This is Exhibit 1. Okay. Let me go back, because I need to show it to you, don't I? Let's see. There it is. Now, this interview was done on October 30th, 2024. So let's see, we found out about this in June of 2025 is when they went public. So David knew he was in the crosshairs way back in probably September, because they interviewed him in October 2024. Back when David was convinced he was innocent and this was nothing but a witch hunt. So now I'm going to go back. So I'm going to be moving this around I wish I could. Wait a minute. I gotta move things around here. Just so I can keep tabs on what's happening. Okay. Yes. All right. I have control. All right. So, in the matter of preliminary investigation 2024-18, this is October 30th, David Vigeant. It appears that he went to Boston for this. Not 100% sure. Oh, it probably was, because it looks like they had a court reporter person in there taking the transcript. So let's see. So this started, here's the first redaction that I want to bring to your attention, and that is that we're starting on page 6. So the first 5 pages are things that they don't want us to know yet. They're not made public. Of course, part of the transcript is, and when you do a deposition or an interview like this, is the preliminaries, introductions, and how this is going to go, the rules of the game, how to participate in one of these interviews. So they might not have included that, but I don't know why they wouldn't. That's certainly mundane. But anyway, so he was answering MCPPO and OPO. Now that is related to David's certifications as a contracting officer. He'd been trained and certified as a CPO. He's a certified purchasing officer, and I don't recall what OPO is, but same thing. So Candy's asking, I believe it's Candy's. Okay, so I just want to go back for a second. What is mapping? Mapping? You said U.S. Mapping School in Virginia. What is that? Land surveying, says David answered, land surveying. Land surveying? Right. Okay, land surveying, I went there twice. And the military sent you there to do that work? Yes. So when David was in the military, he was in the Army, he apparently was, it must have been an engineer of some kind, and he did land surveying, or he went to school for that. So some of the training he's had related to this whole thing actually came from his military time. Okay, and the military sent you to do that work? Yes. To do that study? Yes. Right, he said. Okay. They also asked me to go to West Point, but I turned it down. Yeah, so? I mean, my answer to that is yeah, so. And if I remember, I forgot how old David is, and I forgot his years of service. I think we get to it, but I was also in the military. And one thing that the military does, he was enlisted, and then he did get a commission, and he left the Army as a junior officer. But they also asked me to go to West Point, but I turned it down. I don't believe that directly. You have to apply. They don't just go around asking people to go to West Point. What they do for enlisted people is they do let you know that if you're interested in attending West Point, there's a special program to go for enlisted to go to West Point. There's a prep school that they invite you to apply to. And they don't just go around and select certain soldiers. This is pretty much an open door, that if you want to apply to the prep school, you can. And I'm going to assume that that's what was happening here. I don't think it was, gee, David or Sergeant Vigeant, you're a really top-notch soldier. I think we'll just send you to West Point. That doesn't happen. Sorry. All right. That's my sidebar there. So Candice Pruitt. All right. Okay. You said, so she's probably taken aback by that answer. You said M. And then he answered before she was finished asking the question. If you're ever interviewed, if you're ever questioned by police, by lawyers, by investigators, let them finish giving the question. And then if it's the police, you don't have to answer it. If you're under oath and you're testifying, you kind of do, but you should wait until the lawyer finishes the question, because it might not be the question you think it is. And he keeps doing this throughout this whole interview. So anyway, so she just said M. And that was his cue, I guess, to say CPPO. What does that stand for? Oh, that's the Massachusetts Certified Procurement Officer, I guess. Yes. MCPP, MCPO. It's not, I don't know. There's not all these extra, I think they had extra letters in there. I thought it was, yeah. It's MCPO. It's not MM or MPP, or it's none of that. Anyway, okay, put out by the Inspector General. Yes. The certification by the Inspector General's office. Right. The Office of Inspector General provides the training for municipal people, or municipal employees to become certified as MCPOs. And actually, just to give you a little sidebar, if you're a town official watching this, or you're just an interested member of the public, or a contractor who wants to know more about making sure you're staying, in case you care about staying in line with the ethics, the contracting laws, the Inspector General, all this stuff is online now. It's on Zoom. And you go to the Inspector General's website and you can sign up. They have a whole bunch of classes. These particular big ones they cost a lot of money. And it's worth a community to pay somebody to go to these things. But if you're just a lower level person and you're not going to be the town certified person, there are a ton of classes that are free and that you can sign up for. Like they're an hour and a half, and they teach you some very critical skills to know to protect yourself and your town, or for the general public to be informed. These are really great. Somebody's texting me. I'm being corrected. Okay, I'm going to turn the volume off now. Okay, thank you. Oh, somebody pulled over to listen, or they're listening to my video and texting while driving. I'm not sure which. Okay. Yeah. So all right. So back to the script here. So David says, right. Okay. And do you have any other than a driver's license? Do you have any sort of licensures? And David says he has a CDL. Okay. A CDL. What else? Okay. David answers, I have a grade 3 of water distribution license. I have a grade 3 water treatment license, and I have my land surveying. What do you have? What do you have for land surveying? I have my land surveying with the state. What is it? Is it a license or a permit? Because he never said. My license number is 745. Is that a license? Yes. You have a land surveying license. Right. Got you. Okay. All right. Could you describe your work history over the past 10 years? I'm going to look up to see if land surveying is a license, because that seemed very confusing for all of them. So page 7, okay, we're still in line here. Page 8, 10 years. I was the engineer for Chelmsford for 20 years for the water, Chelmsford Water Department. And I'm now, in the last 4 years, I'm the superintendent for the Townsend Water Department. So you started in the town of Townsend in 2020. The end of November 2020. So this is, next month will be my 4th year. All right. And you were in Chelmsford for 20 years, you said. Correct. Have you ever taken the State Ethics Commission's online training? Every 2 years for the last 24 years. Okay. Do you have any conflict of interest disclosures on file with the town of Townsend? No. Question. I want to show you a document, and we'll go off the record while you review it. And then I'll ask you some questions about it. Okay, they went off the record for a moment. Now they're back on. We're back on the record after a brief break. Exhibit 1 within this communication is a job description. And then we skipped the next page. We don't get to hear about that. I suppose I can get that. But page 9 is missing. Who knows what they talked about there? But it's only one page that's missing in this little gap. So then we go to page 10. And whatever the question was, there was an answer of sometime in the summer. Question, it's been in place from that time forward? Yes. All right. Do you know Gary Shepard? A. Answer. He is a fire chief in town and he owns several businesses. This is funny. This is funny. It's so true, though. This is funny, but it's true. He's the fire chief in town and he owns several businesses. Well, probably a quarter of the town. But he owns a construction company, a turkey farm, a turkey processing facility, probably 50 to 100 houses, and he owns a bunch of other businesses, which I have no idea, but that's being part of the water system. I just see all this, but that's what I know. So, Gary, that's why they call Townsend Shepherdsville. When did you first meet Gary Shepard? Probably in the spring of 2021. How did you meet him? We were at a meeting of the department heads. So anybody who's wondering what that is, the town administrator will periodically have a department heads meeting, and that's where they met. So that was the first time you met him? Yes. What was the meeting about? What everyone was doing. Whatever the progress was for the town that year, that would have been the new town administrator coming in. You hadn't met him before then, right? No. Okay. Now, see, this is another big gap. So they were talking about Gary. Now, that was page 10. Now we're going to jump to page 14. I'm not doing this, folks. These are redacted pages. 11, 12, and 13 are MIA. The answer to whatever the question was is the water takers. That's the best answer. So the businesses and the residents. Answer, pay for everything. Question, pay for everything. And you all have a fund and all that money is used for, has to be used only for, now they're both talking over each other. The question, water department matters? Answer, and I'm constantly bombarded for the water department to pay for things. Question, okay. In July of 2022, you accepted a proposal from Ty and Bond to provide services in relation to the construction of a water treatment plant and a water main design upgrade. Answer, so it's more than that. Actually, that was 2021. But Ty and Bond has been the water department's engineer for the entire time that I have been there. Candice Pruitt answered, which you're not supposed to do if somebody's trying to do a transcript. Answer, and so we went to them as soon as we found. I was there for 6 months and I found out that we had PFAS. And then I got funding within 3 months after that. And Ty and Bond was the engineer we chose to head that problem. Question, could you just state for the record what PFAS is? Oh, we went to the next page. How about that? PFAS is polyfluorinated carbon. The vast rise in cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer in particular, thyroid problems, and all part of PFAS. When it comes from in Townsend is septic systems. Oh, the Board of Health is going to freak out on that one. But for women, if they have makeup, 80% of makeup has PFAS in it, especially mascara. Your wrapping and McDonald's wrapping is 100 million times more potent than what's allowed in drinking water. And it's in everything, your waterproof clothing. If you have a carpet that's over 5 years old, it's loaded with PFAS. I better clean out my house. And so it's in almost everything. And I've been tasked to get it under 4. Our well that we had to shut down right away was 120. So we just shut it down because we couldn't let that go to the people. So we're putting 3 wells in and we'll be in operation in 2 weeks. Okay, which is unheard of. Answer, because he just wants everybody to know this, which is unheard of to go from concept to finishing in less than 3 years. He's pretty proud of himself. Now the town was also having a water treatment plant built, right? Then we skipped, this is bad, we skipped 20 pages. We went from page 15 to page 35. So I have no idea what they were talking about here, but this is Candice Pruitt speaking. And the word recording, when it's transcribed, it won't be clear. So he must have said something garbled. Or I don't know what he said, but this is one of those examples where I just briefly mentioned, don't answer, don't make like noises. You have to say words. Or just shake your head or nod, or you have to say words. Okay, answer. All right, I'm sorry. Question. It's okay. It's all right. Oh, Mr. Cole was there too. You're knowledgeable. We understand that. Question. Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what I'm going to ask you. All right. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what I'm going to ask you. All right. So I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Exhibit 3, and we'll go off the record while you review it. Exhibit 3 is advertisements. I'm not going to show some of these exhibits to you because they're just boring. All right, Miss Pruitt, we are back on the record after a brief break. Question, can you identify what's been marked as Exhibit 3? So the first one is the Central Register. It's where all the contractors in the state go to for these major projects. The second one is the Groton Herald advertisement, which must advertise for 2 separate occasions in a local newspaper. And the third one is Combis, which you have to advertise in Combis. Question. Okay, so who did the advertisement for the Central Register? Do you know? Answer. That would have been Ty and Bond. Okay. Have you seen this Central Register advertisement before? Answer. I had just seen the draft of it, but I never went to the Central Register myself to look at it because I don't do the bidding. You just rig the bidding. I don't know. Question, when you say the draft of it, have you seen this document? No. He never checked to see if it was correct. And he's supposedly he's certified, and you'd never know it. Question, all right, the second page, the Groton Herald public notice. Yes. Who put that in the Herald? I did. You did. And I used the writing from what they wrote. They? What Ty and Bond wrote? Answer, for the Central Register. He skips words. It's interesting, his speech pattern. So I understand it. Ty and Bond sent you the language for the advertisement for the bid? Correct. And then you transferred that information to the Groton Herald? Correct. For the posting, is that right? Yes. Okay. And this posting is for the water treatment plant and for the water main improvement project? Correct. And the date of this public notice says March 3rd, 2023. Is that right? Correct. And at the bottom of the posting, it says bidding documents may be obtained electronically from Ty and Bond website. Did I read that correctly? Yes. And was there any other place where a potential contractor could get the bidding documents? Oh, no. All right. May I have Exhibit 3 back? Now, we already know that the answer no is incorrect because David will give it to you. Ty and Bond evaluated the bids for the water main. What are we calling this? The water main improvement project? Yes. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Exhibit 4. Answer, I was physically there when they opened the bids. Okay, I want you to take a look at Exhibit 4, and I'll ask you some questions. We'll go off the record. So Exhibit 4 is a synopsis. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, we'll find out. So they're back on the record. Question, can you identify what's been marked as Exhibit 4 for the record, please? This is the synopsis of the bid opening for the water main improvement project. I need a sip. Okay. Question, all right, and the date of this document, Exhibit 4? April 26, 2023, and it's from Ty and Bond to you. Correct. So the Townsend Water Department received the bids at 540 Main Street, says David. That's the old water department. How did the water department receive the bids? Well, there was actually 3 bids, but your let's see, but you were only interested in this one, right? What do you mean? There were 3 bids? A, for the answer, for the project, there was 3 separate bids, but you're only interested in this one. Were there any other bids that include Shepco? No. Okay. So what happens, and somebody cut him off. So take a step back for just a second. Yeah. My question to you is, how did you receive the bids? How did you physically receive them? Answer. They either came by mail, Federal Express, or which I'm going to tell you. Bidding is stressful because we had 3 bidders in the parking lot up until 15 minutes before the bid, getting numbers. And so it's very stressful when you have one bid and not knowing what's coming up. And then you notice that people are waiting in the parking lot and they were waiting for the last updated number. And they put their last updated number, and that's what they use for bidding. And like I said, when you come the day before the bids and you got nothing, no bids for the project, but then you get it. That's what, it's very stressful to say the least. Question. So the bids that were open, the first line of tie-in bonds contract bid evaluation to you says, on March 30th, 2023, the Towns and Water Department opened 4 bids. Correct. For the water main improvement project, did I read that correctly? Yes, and all 4 bidders were there. All right. How did you receive those 4 bids? One by mail. Which one? That would be the RFS. Okay. Just as a side note, everyone, RFS is now suing the town over this mess. Okay, answer. And the other 3 were hand-delivered that morning. Question, that morning? David answers, that morning. Question, so they weren't waiting in the parking lot? Oh, they were waiting in the parking lot. They were delivered. They were waiting in the parking lot and they delivered them that morning. Question, so they were waiting in the parking lot for the water department to open? No. Okay, I'm confused. So I believe that bidding was at noontime. So they waited until the very last minute to bring them in. Okay. Because they wanted the most up-to-date numbers. If you know water main, these prices change on a daily basis. And nobody wants to lose money. So they waited in the parking lot for numbers to make sure they got their very last numbers before they brought their bid in. Were they getting their numbers from their subcontractors? Yes. And their suppliers? Yes. Okay. In their vehicles in the parking lot. How did you receive Shepco's bid? That was hand-delivered. By whom? Mike Bertram. Okay, still looking at Exhibit 4. How was Shepco able to submit a bid that was nearly $600,000 less than the next lowest bid? Answer. My guess is that because they didn't have to move equipment, if that makes sense. They mobilization costs and that's over $500,000? Answer, yeah. Their mobile, they only had to go a mile and everyone else had to go 50 or 100 miles. Now, if you think about the equipment involved, backhoes and front end loaders and all this equipment he has right there. Is he as equipped as other places? No, but he had everything within half a mile of the project. So that's the only way I could think of how he could do it, but I don't know how he did it. But question, weren't you curious? Yeah, but I wasn't going to ask him. That's not my place. Whose place is it? That would have been Ty and Bond. They were, who knows? So we have a page missing, ladies and gentlemen. Page 43 is missing, and we're going to jump to page 44, which makes sense to me because this is the nuts. I think page 43 has some nuts and bolts regarding Gary's case. So that makes it pretty clear to me why that page is missing. So there was some question made, and I don't know what it was, but here's the answer. Yes. And we did borings on the whole thing, and I told them both the same thing. They would have to get the boring report from Ty and Bond. Question, did you have any other communication with any of the contractors prior to the bid opening on March 30th, 2023? Answer, I can't remember if I called because I had no bids the day before the bid opening. And I think I asked them if they were going to put a bid in. Ask them who? Answer, Shepco. Why? Because they were the only one I knew. said they were going to bid, and I was starting to panic when I had no bids the day before. How did you know they were going to bid? Because they told me. When did they tell you? When they asked about the rock. Question. In relation to the bid opening, when did they ask you about the ledge? They, as in Shepco? Did we give them 2 weeks? It was about a week, right? I don't know what he's talking about. Answer, no. Okay, I got 3 pages. Okay, that question and answer doesn't go together. We now have 3 pages missing. Oh, 4 pages. Sorry, I can't add 4 pages missing. Is this because those questions were leading to more detail regarding whatever Shepco is up to? It just tells you how deep you can go before you hit ledge. Correct. All right. May I have Exhibit 4 back, please? I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Exhibit 5, and I'll ask you to identify it. It's draft submittals. That's interesting. Answer. Okay. Can you identify Exhibit 5 for the record? This is where we got the drafts. Set of plans for review. That would have been, that would have been 90% and 100% submittal. All right. Let's take a step at a time. The first email in Exhibit 5 is an email from Ty and Bond to you. Is that right? Yes. And it is a set of drawings. Yes. Okay. For the water and looping water main drawings, is that right? Yes. And that's the drawings for the water main improvement project. Correct. And these are the 90% drawings. Is that right? Yes. And you forwarded the email along with the drawings to Gary Shepard. Is that right? Answer. I don't remember that, but I could have, but I don't remember doing it. Oh, he did. Question. And the email from you to Gary says, here's the updated water lines that will be going out to bid in 3 weeks. Did I read that correctly? Answer. Oh, yes. Okay. Did you write that? Yes. Okay. And you sent this from your work email? Yes. And what email did you use for Gary Shepard? It's whatever I have in my computer. Oops. Going too fast. And you sent this email to Gary in your capacity as the water superintendent? Yes. Why? Why? Why did you do that? Answer. I was just keeping him informed. He's the fire chief. But I don't have anything, you know. I guess I didn't do the right thing. I just want everybody to see this. This keeps highlighting more than I want it to, but I'll just leave it there. I guess I didn't do the right thing. Then they ask, did you send the 90% plans to any of the other contractors? No. Nope, just Gary. And you're sending these plans to Gary Shepard 3 weeks before the bids are being advertised. Isn't that right? Right. Right. David confirms. Question. Is there a value to a contractor having the plans for a project 3 weeks before any of the other contractors? No. Because you don't have all the manuals and everything else on all the other information to go with it. But it's 90% complete, right? Yes, but we've been advertising it for a year where the line was going. There could have been, like I said, there could have been what? There could have been some value to it. Was it fair for you to provide the plans to Gary Shepard 3 weeks? And here we go again. David's answer, and I will be honest, no. No, it was not fair to the other contractors for David Vigeant to give the plans to Gary and nobody else. And this is David admitting that. I will be honest, no. Question, 3 weeks before the other contractors? Seeing what I know now, no. Why did you do it? Why? Why? I was just trying to get people bids for the project. There wasn't anything. I will tell you, it was a mistake and I didn't realize it was at the time. Let me ask you another question. So when I sent these plans So when you sent these plans to Gary Shepard, did he make any comments on them? Answer, no. Okay. Because these are the 90% plans and you have an opportunity to make comments on the plans? I do. Yeah. But did Gary Shepard make any comments on the plans? We have a page missing. So whatever conversation that interaction led to was redacted for now. Like I said, I'm going to get these. So mid-sentence, this must be David answering another question. Mid-sentence, I'm jumping in here because we needed to have conservation. Because all the water lines, or not the water lines, all the wetlands, you had to, every time you cross a culvert, you have to get permission from the conservation because it's wetlands. Some of this makes 0 sense. The only thing that makes sense is that the chair of the Conservation Commission is an employee of SHEPCO. Just in case you want to know. Just in case you're wondering if there's any more problems here. Because I can't make any sense as to why conservation was involved pre-bid. Pre-bid. This doesn't make any sense. Other than to get more information to help that SHEPCO was feeding the information. In my opinion, SHEPCO was engaged with conservation to make sure, and part of estimating the costs. The right thing would have been to not involve conservation at this point, and that if these were going to be more permitting, that should have all been done by the contractor after the bidding was done. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think this was just wrong, this whole piece with conservation. So conservation, it was in the conservation office because we were permitting through it. Question, but Gary Shepard didn't have to go to the conservation office, did he? Well, no, he didn't. He didn't have to because his employee was the chair. So why would he even have to show his face? He was going to get whatever he wanted anyway. Answer, no. Question, I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Exhibit 6, and we'll go off the record while you review it. Exhibit 6 is an email. Can you identify what's been marked as Exhibit 6? Is that? Okay, I don't know. That's an email, the important dates I was asked about. When is the bidding? When is the funding? And when are we going to award and stuff like that? Question, who is this email from, to, and from? Okay. I don't know. I don't recognize. Oh, WMB. Oh, that's Mike Bertram. Who's the email from? That was from me. To who? To Mike Bertram. What's the date of the email? February 2nd. February 2nd, 2023, right? Right. And at this point, the advertisement still has not gone out for bids, right? Correct. So David's had quite a few interactions with SHEPCO and SHEPCO's employees, and this is all pre-bid. This is all helping SHEPCO get all the bidding information as they went. That's the only purpose in this. The only reason those conversations are made was to help SHEPCO build their bid. No other purpose. Mike Bertrand has nothing to do with Townsend. Nothing. Nothing. All right, and you're providing him with the final water plans, is that right? No. This had to do with something totally different. He asked me when they're going to come, when is the bid opening, and I gave him all the dates. Question, is it your testimony that you didn't give him the final water plans? Answer, the plans are on there. So you gave him the final water plans, right? Yes. And then you listed some important dates for him, right? And the final water plans is 100%. Oh no, these aren't the final water plans. This is the 90%. But they weren't going to change. So the 90% is really the 100%, but whatever. Answer, yes. Okay, so who is Mike Bertram? He's a directional driller. For whom? He works under Gary Shepard. And then you also listed some important dates. Correct. Now, why did you send this information to? Answer, because. Question, let me finish. Why did you send this information to Mike Bertram? Answer, because those are the dates that have been advertised in our meeting. Why did you send him the final plans? I have no excuse. I have no excuse. I have no excuse. I have no excuse. This is, I don't understand why he's not settling this case. Because he confessed already. Question: did you send this information, that being the final plans and important dates, to any of the other contractors? Answer: no. Of course, David didn't know who the other contractors were. He just knew that Gary Shepard was going to be one of the contractors. That not only was he going to bid, but he was going to win the bid. He was going to be doing the work. David knew this in 2022, and I'm going to show it to you in a document in a moment. Question: and you sent this information to Mike Bertram, who works for Shepco, a little over a month before, 28 days in February, so about a month before the bids were advertised. Is that right? Yes. And these deadlines and the final plans, that's valuable for a contractor to have a month before bids are due, right? No. It's all the ones, the bid opening. Those are all things that we've been talking about every meeting. Those are all public knowledge, all of them. Public knowledge to who? Anyone who goes to the water meeting. Then why would you have to send this to Michael Bertram if he already knew? And that's where it stops. We stopped on page 56. I believe this conversation did continue, but they stopped right here. And starting with the answer to that question is redacted. But I will get it once this case goes a little farther down the road. As I told you earlier, next month I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to pull up another document, and I got to get rid of this one. Got to figure out how to do that. No, close window. Yes. All right, I got to pull up another one. Good. Everybody hang in there. We've got some interesting. I got to figure out which document do I want. Exhibit 13. That's the one I found. 13. I'm going to open this. Open with preview. Where are you? Okay. All right. I'm going to be pulling up this email, which is somewhere in this is an exhibit, so yes. But this is what ethics is using to prove that David knew that he had every intention from months and months before this went out to bid, that Gary Shepard was the contractor. And I'm going to show you that as soon as I can pull it up. Yeah. Share screen. Oh, window. Went to the wrong place. It's going to be exhibit 13. There it is. Share. Pull it up. Add to stage. There you are. Son of a gun. Okay, this is Candice Pruitt is the attorney for Ethics Commission, and she did something with this. But anyway, this is an email from David Vigeant to Mary Danielson and Louis Sirocco. These are Ty and Bond people. So David sent this email to Ty and Bond. Hi, Mary. The contractor can directional drill under multiple culverts and one sitting. If you show me the cluster, I can look at it. Cross Street is propane for Main Street. I don't know what that means. And there's a phone number there. I don't know. Oh, that might be, I don't know whose number that is. I have no idea. But I'm sorry, don't call it. Just don't call them. I don't know who it is. But this is in the email. That is evidence and made public by ethics. So I just want you to take note that this email, I can't highlight it, can I? Oh, there it is. This email was sent on Monday, November 14th, 2022 at 11:50 in the morning, if you're counting. David referred to directional drilling, aka Shepco, as the contractor, all the way back in November 22. Yes, indeed. Let's see. I had a couple things to clarify. Many clusters. We are uncomfortable with the limited cover on some of the culverts we initially thought we might trench over. I mean, some of this is technical stuff. I don't know. But David Vigeant referred to Shepco. I'm giving that an overall. The only the only contractor regarding directional drilling is Shepco's company that does that. Mike Bertram, who is the chief operator of directional drilling, and this is after conversations with Shepco, and David referred to them as the contractor. So as far back as November of 2022, David's indicating that the contractor on this project is Shepco. This is December, January, February, like 3 months before this went out to bid. He's already calling Shepco the contractor. That's a confession right there. His absolute intent was that. I'm getting a comment. Hi, Pennsylvania. Oh, you said, I don't even know if you're still in there. Good afternoon from Adams County, Pennsylvania. Oh, I think I've watched. I know who you are. Hi. I don't know if you're still on, but yeah, you guys go through some of the same stuff I go through. I watch your stuff now and then. I do. Okay. Where was I? So David, this is all, all the arguments that this is a witch hunt is complete bogus, because very early on, there's clear indications that this was Gary's contract. Months, maybe as soon as it was put out there, as soon as David came to the Board of Selectmen, as soon as the water commissioners came to the Board of Selectmen and said, we got to do this. Oh my gosh, we got to do this. And they started getting the funding put together, and which they did jump on everything really fast, but I think this was Gary Shepherd jumping on it really fast. This was a team effort between the Board of Water Commissioners, not just David Vigeant, and the Board of Selectmen. I think time is going to show that this was more than David. This was more than David. I'm still digging. I haven't had a chance. There's a lot of things to go through to find more collusion between other people. I am not done with this video. What am I pulling up now? Okay, I want to pull up. I know you're dying. You're dying. Those of you that are hanging in there, you're dying to hear Andrew Shepherd's interview with the attorneys. Let me see if I can find that. Exhibit 16. That is Exhibit 16. Let's see. Exhibit 16. Open this with preview. Okay. Stretch that out a little. Move it over here. Actually, I want to close this out. All right. Go back. Okay. Bear with me. We're getting there. Share screen. Yep. It's better with 2 monitors. I don't have 2 monitors. I know this. Okay. Here we are. 16. Share. Are you ready for Andrew Shepherd's interview? I bet the Shepherds want to see this. Oops. That's not what I wanted. That's not it either. That's it. Here we go. Watch me learn how to use my computer. Okay. So this is Andrew Shepherd's interview. Gee, I think this was before. This might have been before David's. I thought David's was after this. I'm not pulling it back up to see. Anyway, so Andrew Shepherd was interviewed. This is a shorter one. This is only 8 pages, and yeah. But there's redactions. We started on page 24 this time. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Whatever they talked about for 23 pages has been redacted. And this is because his father's case, Gary Shepard's case was still just closed up in a package, not public yet. So whatever question he was answering, Andrew says, I believe on payroll I was a laborer for a long time. In my email handle, I think I say project manager. On LinkedIn, I might say executive assistant, but it fluctuates. It depends on the day. I could be a truck driver. In other words, I don't want to take responsibility for shit. I'm just a truck driver. No, you're not. You said that on your email handle that you use the term project manager. Mm-hmm. Are you the project manager for every Shepco project? Answer, no, but I do handle a lot of our workforce are not big technology. They do not have a skill set in technology or big fans of email. They really like to be out there on the jobs and out working. So I tend to fill in with making sure that, we'll have plans or documents sent or communications transmitted via email and things like that. So I guess he's the clerk. Which is it? Question, who decides when you're acting in the role of project manager? Answer, I don't know if that is a decision. It kind of depends on what's needed, when. And I don't think anyone really decides that. If there's like with the water main job I've fallen in, Mr. Kiley, when you say the water main job, you mean the matter? Mr. Shepard, the matter that we're discussing. Mr. Kiley, in Townsend, we'll be discussing it shortly. Sure. Question. I'm just getting a little background. I'm going to go back to this conversation here. If you've ever worked operations in an organization, this is basically what would be considered a project management department when you're talking civilian. I worked in the military for many years. And what he described here, what Andrew is describing, is working in ops, working in operations. We're doing everything. I mean, you might call over to S4, you're going to go over to the loggies, logistics, but everything comes back to the operations shop. And this is what exactly Andrew was describing the job description for a project manager and a department of project management. Everything he just said. It's project management. You do whatever comes down the pipe. You handle everything comes to you, and you handle everything, and you're distributing stuff. You're not just doing everything. You're getting somebody. You're assigning work. You're letting whoever's job it is, whoever's out there on the job. You know exactly who's out there on the job, and you know where they are. You know where in the job the process is. Are they just starting? Are they half done? Do they have any issues? Any setbacks? Is it going to get finished on time? And then you're coordinating multiple other jobs that need to come along. They have to come and do it at the same time. Like you're watching a building get built, like a major building, and you see there's some people laying pipe while somebody is building you got some framing going on, but everything's happening. It's coordinated. It's coordinating from the project manager, because you can't put the electricity in the building until the building's built to a certain time frame. Anyways, but Andrew just described exactly what a project manager is. But he said, sometimes I'm a truck driver. No, sorry. Not a thing. Sorry. I don't know if it's a decision. It kind of depends. It depends on what's needed. When? That's project management. If I ever heard it. That's project management. Okay, we'll go back. Question. I just want to look at one thing. Okay, good. I'm just getting a little bit of background. Sure. Answer. So when that got started, naturally I just do a lot more of the emails and digital communication, and received all the documents, submitting all the compliance information, basically project management, submitting all the compliance information that the state has asked for or the town has asked for, and things like that. And the requisitions, the submittals on what you have to submit, the type of pipe, the fittings, everything that we're doing going to be used on the job just naturally falls to me. Because it naturally falls to you, Andrew, because you're the project manager, not because you're the truck driver today. There's not really anybody else that spends time with the laptop or in the office on a computer aside from Lisa doing payroll, except for answer, Lisa, Lisa. Oh, so we're going to dump this all on Lisa. No, you're not. Oh. Andrew keeps describing the job that he has as project manager. He doesn't even know. It scares me that either SHPCO is so disorganized that they have no idea how things get done. They just know it does. And that Andrew does not know his job description. He probably doesn't have one. He probably said, Andrew, just do everything, without mentioning that you're the project manager. But when they fill out paperwork, he puts his name down, his job title as project manager, because nobody will talk to anybody but the project manager, so he's a project manager. He's not just the project manager because he says he is. He describes the work he does, which is a job description of any project manager out there. I asked somebody to tell me something different. If you do project management and you're telling me that what I just read, Andrew Shepard's very own words, tell me that he's not describing a project manager. Go ahead. Somebody tell me that. I dare you. Okay, now we're skipping 5 more pages. Oh, we got blackened. This is serious top secret information. We got blacked out redactions. Excuse me, I just want to let the treasurer know in the town of Townsend that this is what a redaction looks like. You use on what you're actually redacting. In case you try to do that stunt again, this is what you're supposed to do. See? This is how the secret government does it. When people were asking about UFO information. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. Question, what is your work email address? andrew.shepco@gmail.com. You would think that they would have their own domain. You think they're a big company. You would think they would have, especially if Andrew is a project manager, they should have their own domain. They should. Using Gmail for a business of this size is mind-boggling. Okay, question. And who accesses your work email account? Who other than you? Oh, it should just be me. You're the only one? I'm the only one. Then we got a whole bunch of redactions again. What page? All right. Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm spinning the wheel here. I needed to check what page we're on. So we are still in order. Question. What is Gary Shepard's work email address? Say that again. What is Gary Shepard's email address? His email address is shepcoinc@aol.com. I'm not sure if that's it, but it could be. I don't know. Question. And who has access to his work email address other than Gary Shepard? It's mostly him, but he keeps it on his computer, and sometimes, if anybody needs to get anything out of it, we can just go over to his computer. Question. So no cybersecurity there. Question. You mean if anybody needs to get anything out of his email? Answer. Correct. Like if somebody sends something that, they may have. I was talking to a concrete vendor the other day. They had his email on file. He's not always the best at checking his email because he can tend to get a lot of them. So I asked them to change it over to mine. But what they did send, I believe, walked over to his computer, went in his email, found what I needed to find. Question. That's like a whole run-on couple of, I don't know what that even means. But anyway, question. Do you send emails from his account? I try not, if anything. I would forward an email from his account to mine. And then, okay, here's some real interesting redaction. 56 pages of redaction. We just skipped over to page 87. So these are definitely pages I want to get my hands on. Definitely. 56 pages that they didn't give me. Ms. Pruitt, okay, I'm going to go off the record, take a brief break. I want to talk to Scott. We're going off the record. Then Ms. Pruitt back on the record after a brief break. Question, did you discuss the project with Gary Shepard? The water main project? Question, yes, the project. Answer, when needed. Question, yeah. Like when you need to talk to him about the project. Sometimes, Gary was busy doing other things and Mike couldn't get a hold of Gary to talk about the movement of the equipment or materials and things. I would try to step into that. And, when I could, if I could talk to him in the middle of the night or in the morning, I gotta check one thing. Okay. In the middle of the night or in the morning, say, hey, Mike is really hoping to do this amount of footage or do these things, and sometimes that would work. You had greater access? Sure. It's funny. I'm family. I work for him. I'm his son. I'll eat dinners at his house, but I really don't often get a chance to. I joked in the beginning about only talking to him for a few minutes a day, and that is pretty accurate. You can't get him on the phone for very long because somebody else is calling. Question. So you may reach out to him about something that Mike wants to do, or answer. Yeah, operation, trying. Question, specifically regarding the project, what kind of things did you reach out to him about? Or do you reach out to him about? Yeah. Question, it's still ongoing. Answer, yeah. For those things, it would have been about, the movement of equipment or materials, which typically would be normally what he would do in talking with Mike. If Mike just couldn't get him, could be about if there was a problem or if like a machine broke down or something. Normally Larry is the gentleman, he's a mechanic, depending on that's it. We stop at 88 mid-sentence. And then we've got more redacting going on. So God knows what else they talked about or for how long. But that's, so in total, there's minimum of 88 pages in Andrew Shepard's interview. And I will be getting that in the next public record request that I do, which again won't be for another month. Now, I got one more I want to bring up. And just to confirm, there might be more than one. I'm going to bring up the RFS statement. And that is going to be Exhibit 21. Open with preview. Just telling you folks, I have a Mac, and I have found, despite the fact that I have a professional Acrobat Pro account, and I can make Acrobat do backflips, it's easier when I'm doing this kind of thing to use preview to pull things up. I even use preview if I do a PowerPoint presentation. I'll put it into preview to use on YouTube, and it talks to me. It's much easier. And I think most YouTubers do it that way, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. I'm going to share screen again. Bring this up. Get that window. Exhibit 21. Okay. Almost. There it is. Oh. I need water for this one. Okay. All right. We're going to get back there. This is an affidavit. Oh, okay. I had the right name. Jeez. This is an affidavit submitted by Richard Ciccone of RFS. Let me scroll up here. I, Richard Ciccone, hereby depose and state the following. 1. I am General Manager of RFS Corporation, General Contracting, which is located in Brockton, Massachusetts. And again, I'm going to remind my listeners that RFS is currently suing the town of Townsend for this mess. They're suing the town for $1 million for the ethics problem that caused, they believe that they rightfully should have been the winning bidder, or that Gary, because of the inappropriate actions that were taken providing Gary Shepard with the contract, that RFS is suing. And in my opinion, they're going to win. And I hope, as a taxpayer, I hope the town will just settle with them and move on, because this is just costing us. I'm sure they'll take a settlement before the legal fees get too out of hand, because we got to pay their legal fees too, by the way. 2, the Town of Townsend Water Department issued requests for bids on its water main improvement project on March 1st, 2023. RFS did not have access to the final or nearly final plans for the water main project prior to March 1st, 2023. RFS Corporation was unaware prior to March 1st, 2023, that the water main project would call for horizontal directional drilling. This is a very key piece. Very key, because for months and months before the bidding went out, conversations were had between David Vigeant and Mike Bertram of the directional drilling company underneath Shepco on all the details on how it was going to be done, on all the culverts, all the places where, all that. It was, Mike Bertram was part of the planning process. And I've shown you all that already. And if you're just tuning in, certainly just you got to watch this thing from the beginning, because all of this is connecting the dots. So no one in the universe was informed that horizontal directional drilling was even a thing. And they could have bid for that, but they didn't. Their bid did not include that. Let me get to that. On March 30th, 2023, RFS placed its bid on the water main project. RFS's base bid was $1.5 million plus. Okay, and its alternate bid was $3 million, for a total bid of $5,348,236.10. Because there were two components of the bid, of the RFP actually, but the bid, there were two components they had to bid on. And I believe RFS was the lowest bidder on the first part, but because of the second part, Gary was lower, because he already had the plans. He already knew what was needed and what it was going to cost him to do it well in advance of anybody else. In fact, even into doing he didn't need to ask any more questions once he got the bid. Anyway. 7, having the water main project plans in advance would have provided the advantage of time, where Shepco had months and months of working with the engineers and working with David to get all the details and determine what was needed for this project. RFS had 30 days, tops. It would have allowed RFS Corporation to better understand the job site necessities and project planning requirements for the creation of its bid. 8, having the water main project plans in advance would have, I'm going to scroll this up a little bit more. Having the water main project plans in advance would have allowed RFS to better plan which areas required horizontal directional drilling and which ones did not. This could potentially result in significant cost savings. 9, as part of the bidding process, having the boring logs from the water main project in advance would have provided RFS the chance to examine the logs in more detail, allowing it to better determine potential time and cost-saving measures. 10, having the water main project plans in advance would have provided RFS Corporation with the opportunity for increased information gathering and multiple site visits, with which it could have developed a more thorough site plan and project management strategy. Having the water main project in advance would have allowed RFS to secure prices and work guarantees from its product suppliers and subcontractors sooner and more thoroughly. So what he's describing here is the benefit that Gary Shepard had for the months that he was aware and doing the planning to put his bid together. These are things that Gary had an absolute leg up on for many months, and no one else was provided with the information that Gary had at his beck and call. Whatever Gary wanted, Gary got. Okay, item 12. Let me scroll up again. Having the water main project plans in advance would have been of great value to RFS Corporation in bidding on the water main project. It would have allowed RFS Corp to perform multiple site visits, to work more thoroughly with its subcontractors to design a project plan, to work more thoroughly with suppliers to determine material pricing, and to understand the plans for the water main project, all of which would allow RFS to more accurately plan its bid and increase its chances of submitting a cost-effective bid. I am informed that Shepco's bid on the water main project was approximately $600,000 less than RFS Corporation's bid. Signed under the pains of perjury this past September 25th. Okay. So that's RFS statement. It's very critical, and that really the basis of the lawsuit as well. But he did this affidavit to ethics. And in other, I went over it before, I believe. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. If not, I've got it buried in my exhibits. It certainly is buried. I've got so many documents on this, it's frightening. But, oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. But RFS, yeah. I wish I could remember what I was going to say. But anyway, that's really the basis. I know what it was. RFS found out about the ethics stuff back in, I think, June or May, or sometime before June of this past year, when ethics contacted RFS asking questions about the bidding process to see what they knew, when did they find out things, and that's really what a very significant part of what set off the investigation. Yep. There is another exhibit. I'm going to have to do another video someday. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. There's so many documents. Interesting. I want to check something. I don't want to be on this all day. I really don't. Let's see. Nope, don't want that. I know that there was another exhibit. That's not what I want. Whoops. Let's see, that's 3, 4. Oh, we don't need that either. Let's see, because I know I had one where David had gone further in I just wish I could remember now. This was okay, I don't want that. Bear with me. I'll find something. If it's here. It might not be here. These are all documents that interesting, but nobody cares about. Oops, nope. Hold on. I don't need that. We'll get there. If there is, these are all the documents that were going back. Oh, I see. I got a lot of the documents of what was actually going back and forth. Oh, yeah, everybody was involved in this. I got all kinds of emails from everybody. This is totally amazing. How many people stuck their nose into this? I'm looking. There was a point somewhere. I somehow missed it. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, okay. I think I went over this before. Oh, this is the answer. I didn't. We're still here. People still hanging out there? Let me see. Hold on. This is Exhibit 14. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. We're going to do one more exhibit. Bear with me. How long have we been on here? I just want to check time. Oh, we haven't been here long at all. No problem. Let's see. Okay, let me open. This is interesting. This is when you're served with a lawsuit, you are provided questions. Now, in this one, unfortunately, it's part of the order to show cause. And unfortunately, I do not have the questions. When David did his original response, this was prior to getting an attorney. I think that he answered this. Let's see, is there a date? Oh, I have the questions, but they're attached. Oh my. I don't have the date that he provided the answers. But I'm gonna try to do this. It's gonna be a challenge, but I'm gonna try to do it because the way David answered, it's tough. It's tough. Let me bring. Oops, everything jumps out at me. Add to stage. Here we go. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit bigger. I can get back to it. Here we go. Make this a little bigger so you can read the fine print. Is that better? Yes, I think it's better. Okay, this is the order to show cause responses. I'm going to try to go up and down to see. Oh, I need to see what the question was. This is, and he answered this months after, maybe even 8 or 9 months after the interview that I just went through with him. This is his answers to the order to show cause. Question number 1. Okay, I'm going to spin this up. Don't get too dizzy. The first question was, the first few things are strictly matters of fact. His answer to number 1 is, I acknowledge the State Ethics Commission. It doesn't require an answer, basically. Number 2, I disagree for the following reasons. No state ethics rep showed up to investigate in person. They don't have to. Sorry, David. B, a complete investigation was not done. They kept stopping the tape in the middle of the interview. And that's referring to when they had him in the office and they were questioning him. Okay, number 3, I agree with this statement. I'm sure it's just a preliminary. Section 4 is inaccurate for the following reasons. In April 2021, all 4 active wells were found to have PFAS, and the one Harbor Trace well was 6 times the mass DEP limit. As the 5th well was put online to be able to turn off Harbor Trace well, Main Street well has been shut down and moved to a new location, eliminating the PFAS at that well. The 3 other wells are going through the treatment plant currently to include the Harbor Trace well. It doesn't matter what the question is. This is just not even relevant. Number 5. Section 5 is inaccurate for the following reason. Only 20% of the over 20,000 feet of new water main is a raw water main. The other 80% is a looping water main. The raw water main is only from one location and to the new treatment plant and not various. Okay. Section 6 is inaccurate for the following reason. Ty and Bond civil engineers are not the town engineers. I'm going to correct him right there. Is because we had contracted with them, they actually were and still are to this day the town engineers regarding water department projects. They are currently the town's and water department's consultants. They're the engineers. The town does not use Ty and Bond. Yes, we do. I contacted Ty and Bond about the problem, and we had a meeting with the Board of Water Commissioners in June of 2021. So this is when the PFAS thing started. I'm going to give a side note. Last night, I was looking for the Townsend Board of Water Commissioners meeting agenda and minutes for this time period. There's a 2-year time period starting in June of 2021 where all their meeting agendas and minutes have vanished. So I'm going to have to do a public records request. Get ready, Todd! But I'm going to be asking for them because they seem to have been removed from the website. I wonder why. In July of 21, the Board of Selectmen voted to declare a health emergency and directed the Water Department to seek all funding options and plan the treatment plant. Bidding was not a thought at this time and not part of a scope of work at this time. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. Section 7 is accurate and false in every way. There is no town engineer. Yes, there is, David. The 90% plan was presented to the public by Ty and Bond. See, this is the finger pointing that is famous. Townsend is famous for this. From representing the Townsend Water Department to also include borings list, details, directional drill meeting on December 14th, 2022 at the Conservation Commission with all the changes from the November 9th, 2022 Conservation Commission meeting. The Conservation Commission gave full approval of the project on December 12th, 2024. Despite the fact that it was put out to bid in 2023. Okay. On December 29, 2022, Mass DEP and Mass SRF gave full approval of the project as was in the plans. Also, the bidding process started in November 22. What? And the first bid opened in December 2022. What? That's a good... I'd like to know what that's about. The maps in question were public information at that point. The bidding process started... No, it didn't. Where's he getting this? It was public information, and the email that I sent was also public information, just as a statement of reminder that the bidding date was coming up. In that email, I never asked Gary Shepard to bid, nor did I give any bidding specifics. The bid date was also public information as the November 22nd Board of Water Commissioners meeting and many meetings thereafter. This is just nonsense. Yes, I sent the email, but it was taken out of context. Oh, the 90% plan was presented to the public by Ty and Bond, representing the Townsend Water Department, to also include the borings list detail of every directional drill under town culverts in the Conservation Commission meeting that was held in December of 2022, with all the changes from the November 9th, 2022 meeting. These are more meetings I will be checking the minutes for. The Conservation Commission gave full approval of the project on December 12th, 2024. On December 29th, 2022, Mass DEP and SRF gave full approval. We already had that. Also, the bidding process started in November 22. And the first bid, this is nonsense. This is BS. There's no bidding in 2022. The maps in question were public information. When I sent out the email, I was sending out public information to remind them the bidding was coming up. I never asked them to bid at that time, nor did I give out bid specifics. The bid date was public knowledge at that point because of the November 22nd vote, number 2022 vote of the Water Commissioners, and many other meetings thereafter. Question 9, he didn't answer. I'm going to scroll down. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to look at this thing again. Okay, the town engineer. Vigeant immediately forwarded the plan to Gary Sherrick. 10. Shepco was a prospective bidder on the water main. He is the updated water line. Okay, the town engineer provided the water department held a private firm. Okay, it's just doesn't matter. Which one did he not answer? He left 9 blank. Sorry for this quick scrolling. I know it hurts your brains. Vigeant sent the email to Shepard's private Shepco email address with a note. Here is the updated one. So David chose not to even answer that question. He gave no answer for number 9. 10. Correct, Shepco was a bidder for the 2 water main projects. If David had an attorney at this point, the attorney would have known what to say on number 9. There's a way to finagle your way around some of these answers. And his lawyer clearly had not been hired yet. Okay, overall directional drilling is owned by Gary Shepard and has one of 3 machines in all of New England that could directional drill a 12-inch water main. Oh, so that must be why he gave it to Gary. Because, anyway. Okay. 12. That is correct. If any company or person asks for the plans being public at that point, I am required by law to give a copy of these plans to anyone who asks for it. I was asked by 2 residents, which I gave them the information, and then I went to the police department and discussed the project with them. Oh, yes, the police need to know. Why? Why do the police need to know? Where's... oh, my God. 13. Yes, I sent the email, but it was taken out of context. This is the same exact answer that he gave in a previous question. The bid date was public knowledge at this point because of the November 22nd vote of the Water Commissioners and many other meetings thereafter. 14. The statement is false. It is fabricated because if you look closely at it, it says October of 22 on all the pages. 15. This is the same as line 12 with different wording. That is correct. If any company or person asks for the plans, I'm required to give it to them. Okay, 16. The statement is correct. I don't know what... We'll get to that. The statement is false. No one from the water department had anything to do with the bidding or the bidding process to include bid specifications. It was just our job to give it to everybody. Oh, to give it to Gary. In October 22, Time Bond's contract was adjusted to include running the bidding process that was to begin in November 22, along with the OPM resilient manager who was hired in January 23 to do the bidding process. I was there as a witness for the water department, but had nothing to do with the bidding process besides that. No bids were received until the final 2 hours of the bid deadline. 18. The statement is false. No one from the water department had anything to do with this. Same answer. 19, 20, 21, and 20. Oh, just 21. Okay, those are all true. 22. The statement is false. I do not live in Townsend, nor do I know anyone personally. I work for the Townsend Water Department to the best of my ability on a daily basis. I take exception to the accusation that I gained anything from anyone other than my salary. Many times I've been directly threatened with my job. People have tried to coerce me, and I have been told not to listen to state agencies. This is pretty typical of Townsend, so I believe him. And other things which I reported to the state ethics office, but to no avail. One of these people was a former water commissioner, and the other person was a former selectman's daughter who works in the same building as state ethics. This may need to be investigated as to why. This person used the state ethics office and threats to me as part of trying to get privileges. Yes, he said all this. I have been directly threatened with my job. I'm reading this again. I have been told not to listen to state agencies and other things, which I reported to state ethics. I'd like to know what he reported. I would love to know. I don't quite understand. There are a number of things that are true, false. Okay, item 26, the statement is false. I never saw the final plans or the bid specifications, and I referred everyone to Time Bond for those requests. I have stayed out of the bidding process. He was so involved with the bidding process, it makes me ill. 27, the statement is false. I never saw the final plans. I've stayed out of the bidding process. You keep saying things over and over again. It doesn't make it true. 28, the statement is false. Yes, I sent the email, but it was taken out of context again. The 90% plan was presented to the public by Ty and Bond, representing the town's water department, include the boring list, culverts, all that stuff. All the changes from November 9th, 2022 must have been a hell of a meeting from the Board of Water Commissioners. The Conservation Commission gave full approval of the project on December 12th, 2024. On December 29th of 22, Mass DEP, we already had this. This is just a regurgitation. It was the exact same answer on another question. All information was available to anyone in the public at that time. 30, this is again false. I never saw the final plans. Yes, you did. Okay. Okay. That was the order to show cause. This is the responses. So I'm going to get this out of here. I did remove that. All right. Let me see what else I can. Let's see what else other kind of trouble I can get into. Kill that. Kill that. I have too many windows open. Let's see. Where am I? All right. That's unneeded. Let's see. Oh, I already did this one. I know there was. Oh. I'm not going to pull it up because it's a pain in the neck to pull up all these. But I've got an email from David that went to Gary and Andrew. Gary Shepard and Andrew Shepard separately. In the same email regarding, please see draft set of drawings for the raw water and looping water main. We're still going through the final QC on our end, but I think we've incorporated most of the changes to date, including the sample box at the end of the raw water main. Just the details. And I don't have the attachments, but there were 5 or 6 attachments on this email regarding what the plans, the direct plans. And he sent it not just to Gary, but to Andrew, the person who's not sure if he's a truck driver or a project manager. That was Exhibit 17. This just gets comical. Got a summary of costs. I just don't need to see this. Some of these exhibits are boring. Let's see. Central. Oh, I got the central register. You don't need that. That's boring. 20. Oh, okay. I'm looking at this. All right, I'll let you see this. This might be boring, but because everybody talks about the bids, the bids and who bid and why is RFS able to even sue, and what if Gary won, what's the problem? But I want to show you what the bids are, and then we're going to take into consideration all the information that Gary had in advance, and back to what RFS said, as well as the Ethics Commission, that says that this stuff. I'm going to read a text I just got. I just got it this second. Maybe him referring to 2022 as when it starts is because that is when he decided that it was Gary, that it was going to go to Gary. Yep, I agree. Because it was in November 22 that he sent the email referring to the Shepards as the contractor. And in his answer to the show cause, he was referring to November 22, and this is very odd. And it was November 22 that they decided it was going to Gary. And I'm certain there's more documents, although I know there's more documents because the things that they didn't send me. But I think within Townsend, I think there's more documents. And there's probably videos too. And I'm going to find them in my spare time. But anyway, I'm going to pull up the bidding because they show. Did I pull it up? I think I did. I think I did. I got all these things going on. I think I got it. All right, I did not. I did not prepare it. Hold on. I know. I put it in. I put that in Adobe. I don't want it in Adobe. I want it in Preview. Open with Preview. Make my life easier. Okay, there it is. Okay, make this a little bigger. Yeah, so what was explained by ethics and as well as RFS is that had they had the same information that Sheprico had for the months and actually a year almost, or more than a year, I think, no, 6 months, at least 6 months, actually more than that. I think Gary was involved in 2021, but we don't have a document yet. But I'm sure he was involved in 2021. Are we kidding? So, but this bidding, the bids will show the actual numbers, and it'll make you get a clearer picture as to what they're talking about. That if RFS had the information sooner, and certainly they would have had more time. They would have had the benefit of the time that Gary Shepard had to develop the plans, and that is easily seen in the bidding document. So let me pull this up. Share screen again. Here we go. Window. If I talk to myself, you're following me, and I'm not leaving you with dead air, right? Isn't that how that works? Okay, I think you can see this. Not yet. Almost. There it is. Magic. Okay, here we have. This is the. Of course, this document was not provided for a month, almost a month after the biddings were closed. David did this on April 26, 2023. On March 30th, 2023, the Townsend Water Department opened 4 bids for the water main improvement project. The bidders, their respective bid prices, and Ty and Bond's opinion of the probable construction costs are as follows. And Shepco was the winning bid, but the overall bid, okay? And the base bid, RFS was the winning bid. The alternate bid, which I can't remember, maybe way back when I had I do have the information someplace. Oh, okay, we'll get to it. But there's a base bid and an alternate bid, which when they asked for the bids, they asked for them to split the bid in 2 separate pieces because they weren't 100% certain that they were going to do the alternate, whatever it was, the stuff, whatever they were doing. We'll get to that. So they had them separate them. And Shepco was not the winning bid on the base bid. It was RFS by a couple of $100,000. By $200,000, RFS was the winning bid. But it was on the alternate stuff. And this is where the really good information, the stuff that the information that Gary had access to months in advance. And actually, I believe, my evaluation, I'm not an engineer, my evaluation is that Gary was actually part of the bidding, of the development of the plans to put this out, the plans to do the work, as well as, because all the plans, what was put out to bid, I believe was designed partially by Gary on this is how we can do these things. And I say that because of the email that David sent to Ty and Bond that the contractor said this, and this. And that was how Ty and Bond made a determination to even develop the plans based on what the contractor said, which the contractor was Overland Directional Drilling, which is the company owned by Shepco, Mike Bertram. So Gary was involved with this project in its design, not simply just the bidding. So there was the total difference was only $600,000, but because RFS did not have the information that he needed to make a clear, cost-effective bid on the alternate work. He didn't have the same information that Shepco had, and that was the basis for the difference in the bid. And this is just a couple $200,000 or $400,000 difference, or six. What is it? I'm losing my mind. Whatever. I have a headache right now. I can't add. 4? No, 6. It is 6 because I'm going upside down. Sorry. All right, I can add. I really can. I know it's been 600 through this whole thing. Why can't I see that? It's $600,000 difference. But it was. I completely have to agree with RFS on their assessment and the Ethics Commission. All right, the bid included attachments. Apparent low bidder. There was a discrepancy. Shepco actually made a mistake. But it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Shepco listed CHB excavating to fulfill the MBE requirement, totaling 203. South Shore Pipeline. These are all the subcontractors. Reference evaluation for performance. And they determined that Shepco has the experience, but I don't think that's ever been a doubt. That's why they were part of the planning. Okay, so this was all just they cared about Shepco, and that's it. Darn it! I wish I had. Do I have? I'm going to zip through this. I want to say this is just all the bidding sheets, which don't matter. Never mind. All right, so I didn't have. I wish I could remember off the top of my head what the difference, what the alternate. I know I've gone over it before. I can't remember what the separate stuff is. Let me see here. I don't think 21 is going to give me any more information. Oh. Oh, I already. Okay, I'm all right. I was thinking that was somebody else. Who the heck? All right. So that's all I have. I think there was another document somewhere. Not in this drop. Somewhere. I've got. Oh, the original. I don't have the original. I do buried somewhere. I went over in a previous video. I think. I don't know. But earlier in this whole lawsuit presentation in the ethics, I think back when the original show cause was out there, I do have other documents. I'm pretty sure I went over them with everybody already. So I'd have to dig them up out of my computer somewhere to pull them back up. But those are the documents, those are interviews. I hope that this has been informative for everybody, because this is the core of what this case is all about. And when I say the case, I'm talking about the ethics complaint. I'm not strictly talking about the lawsuit. I mean, the lawsuit is getting everything from the ethics complaint. So as these documents are available, which I'm sure, I mean, RFS is not getting their stuff from me. They're getting it from ethics. In fact, they probably have more documents from ethics than I've presented, because they have whatever rule it is in civil procedures, but they got the equivalent of discovery from the Ethics Commission in order to include that in their lawsuit. So all of this is still, everything that ethics is presenting is being presented as part of the discovery in the lawsuit RFS versus the town of Townsend. And I know our Board of Selectmen on most meetings has a dedicated section in executive session to discuss the RFS lawsuit. And I'm assuming that it is all the discovery going back and forth that's being discussed. And not, they should spend very little time on the ethics complaint, because that is none of their business. The lawsuit is their business, and they should, in my opinion, I've said it from as soon as that lawsuit was filed, as soon as I heard about it, which was in September. I heard about it, I think, in October, but it was filed in September. And as soon as I heard about it, they need to settle. There's no question about it, because there's no question that this is going to go in the way of David's going to lose his case in ethics. And if Townsend is fighting this lawsuit, we're going to lose. It'll be cheaper to settle. And I'm sure RFS would take a number that is satisfactory to somebody. Let me see if I've gotten any more crazy. Nope, no more comments. Okay, I'm going to read this to myself, but what is that? Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, I agree. And I think I probably just glossed over that. I don't know if you're watching or listening. So anyway, yeah, so this is the ethics drop. I have gone over 90% of the ethics drop. And I think if you can hear and you can read, you can see that this is a done deal. And well, it's not a done deal until the hearing actually goes off, which will be, I believe it's scheduled to be February 10th for David Vigeant. Gary's is not, his pre-hearing is in February. No, I'm sorry, March. And the actual hearing is scheduled for April, unless I got that wrong, but either way, it's in the future. So David, it's possible that it's going to be continued. It's going to be extended based on what happened Friday, but which is nothing extraordinary. Just things happen, delay. So we shall see how that's going to turn out. But I wondered if you pulled over. That's okay. So yeah, I do that a lot. I will sometimes listen to YouTube videos while I'm driving. I listen to them. I don't watch the video. I'll just listen. And sometimes that's all you need. Good commentator will just cover everything, and you're not, playing this game of, look at this, see what's on the screen. You just talk and you explain everything. So anyway, that's all I have on this issue for tonight. And I certainly will have more as time goes on. There will be, I'll get another ethics drop, not for another month, but our next live stream with the Ethics Commission is scheduled to be February 10th. I don't know what is going to happen. I will upcoming. Today is Monday already. Jeez, I'm screwed up. The snowstorm's got my head in a scrambled eggs. So tomorrow I've got a lot of things to do this week, and I'm just realizing that I got time crunches going on all over the place. But there is a select board meeting on Tuesday at 3 p.m. I believe there's a FinCom meeting at 6. That I really want to be able to live stream the select board meeting. There's a lot of good stuff there. I've got some conflicts I'm going to try to work out. And I'll do my best to make sure I can make that work. Okay, so I'm going to thank everybody for hanging in there at this point. And hopefully this has been helpful, if not entertaining, for those of you that have no idea what this is about. But this is the ethics investigation and hearings against David Vigeant, our water commissioner, and Gary Shepard, our fire chief and owner of he's a company who was improperly involved with the bidding process. Yeah. So come back for the next one. And if you haven't already, here I go with my banner. Hit the like button if you have not already. And definitely please subscribe. If you want to stay up on this issue, please subscribe so you'll get notified the next time we cover this. Okay? All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. I'm really glad that you're able to join me, and hopefully I'm here. Well, I am here to inform the public of what's going on. My mission is transparency and to let everybody know what's happening around here, because nobody else is going to tell you. Nobody else is telling you, are they? No, me. I'm giving it to you. And I'm showing that I've got the receipts. I've been showing you the documents. All right, so I will see you on next time. Thanks again for watching. Watch my other videos too. And share these. Share them with your friends. Comment. Leave some comments. Okay, good night.